Montech seems to be taking a bold step in redefining case layout. This is HS02 Pro, the latest flagship model, which has some interesting features, but it also has some little annoyances I came across while building a PC in it. Let's see what it has and where it can be improved.
Looking for affordable Windows or Office keys? Look no further, I got you covered. Head over to scdkey.com, pick your Windows edition, use my discount code LE25 to get a 25% on any Windows or Office products. Once you complete your order, after a few seconds you will receive your code. In Windows, go to Settings, there should be an Activate Windows prompt at the bottom. Click that, enter your code and wait for Windows to finish activation. To check the activation status, use the command prompt with the command slmgr.vbs/xpr and you should receive a notification that the machine is permanently activated. Once again, use code LE25 at scdkey.com.
The design of the case is simple, elegant and functional. This is the HS02 Pro model. There is also HS01 model. That one has a mesh panel in the front, while the HS02 has a nice 8-degree curved glass piece in the front for better aesthetics. The case dimensions are 480mm in length, 240mm wide and 480mm high. I know that you immediately saw two fans at the back, so let's open it and see what hides inside. In order to open the side panel, you first need to remove the top panel, which is just held by magnets on top, super easy removal via the leather strap at the back. The top panel is also perforated to allow air to escape, and it also is dense enough to act as a dust filter. Once the top panel is removed, there are two grooves where you can pull the side panel out. It is held in place with pins and pegs on the top side and with two lips on the bottom for security. You can also do the same for the front glass piece, as it will give you more space inside when building a PC. Okay, things are getting pretty interesting right away. The interior is familiar and yet super unusual for a case. Everything is covered with mesh covers, everything is recessed, hidden, it's clean. As you can see, the new trends are followed here, so back connect motherboards are accepted here, as well as regular sized ATX motherboards and all sub-sizes as well, with a pretty nifty thing that covers the bottom unnecessary holes if you're using micro ATX boards, for example, so the cables are well hidden. The motherboard tray is recessed at the back, so it can hide all the cables on all sides to give you the best possible clean look. The only visible holes are two up top, which are used for the AIO cables, so they remain hidden by the AIO itself anyway. In terms of GPU clearances, we are looking at 420mm max, and there is also a nice little GPU holder, the anti-sag preventer, included in the package, which goes on the side and remains hidden once the GPU is installed for, again, that ultimate clean look. For the CPU coolers, the clearance is up to 175mm. At the rear side of the case, there are two 120mm pre-installed ARGB fans, and this is the maximum supported size anyway, either one or two 120mm fans. In the bottom area, there are three 120mm pre-installed ARGB fans as well. They are recessed too for that clean look. If we take a look under the case, things look messy. Honestly, they do look messy. This could have been concealed better. All the cables that go from the front I/O panel and also from the fans are visible from the underside, and the fans are just there exposed from the outside. Although they have a magnetic mesh dust filter attached to them, but again, you don't look at the underside of your case that often. At the rear side, you can see that PCI covers do not have bars between them, and you can also rotate the whole bracket to utilize vertical GPU mounting if you wish so. The PCI riser cable is of course sold separately. And also here is where I had a major issue with this case. In order to insert the GPU properly, you need to align it in and wiggle it in a place in such a way that it's so hard and almost impossible. All this could have been avoided only if the place where the metal bar that is covering the PCI screws was just 5mm more cut. It's a major issue in my opinion. Even as someone who built hundreds of computers, this was a challenge. I can only imagine how frustrating this would be for a beginner builder. So Montech, please fix this. On the upper rear section, you can see that the rear fans are in a separate cage, and you can completely remove this cage and later on install both fans outside at once and put them on the case itself. This is something new and this is a nice approach, honestly. It makes rear fan installation a breeze. Also makes the fans not completely visible from the inside, because you can only see the fan blades, not the fan frame. So in case you want to use some other fans that have LEDs on the frame, well, bummer, they won't be visible. But if your aim is to have the cleanest possible build, then this is amazing. There is also a PSU cable pass-through up top, as this case utilizes a strange PSU mounting, which you will see once we go to the back side of the case. Up top you can mount 3 120mm fans or up to 360mm AIO in sizes, and pretty much this is the maximum supported size. But here is where I ran into another issue while building. Once again, 360mm AIO fits here, but it fits to a millimeter of space. Look at this AIO. This is the Montech's own AIO. Fan cables run on the side. They are daisy chained, while these connectors are hitting the case wall. So installing this was a bit strange, and I had to wiggle them somehow inside the fan frame for them to fit, as the AIO is sitting literally 1 millimeter away from the inner case wall. Again, Montech, this needs fixing, especially if someone were to use your own product. Moving to the back side of the case, you can see the perforated back panel without any dust filters, by the way. This is here because the PSU goes in this area here. So once the panel is off, you can see some strange things once again. The PSU goes up top to the left side. This is why we have that PSU extension cable in the back area. But first, let's remove these covers. The right top one covers just the cable mess which would otherwise be seen, and it also hides ARGB and fan hub for the pre-installed fans. But the left one, the bigger one, it covers the complete PSU space, which is limited to 200mm large PSUs, but the cover itself is used as HDD or SSD mounting space. So you can mount one 3.5-inch drive here and one 2.5-inch or two 2.5-inch drives. Behind the motherboard tray there is another SSD and hard drive caddy, which supports either two 2.5-inch drives or one 3.5-inch drive. And lastly, the front I/O panel is pretty nice and symmetrical. It has two USB 3.0 ports spread symmetrically on both sides, two audio jacks for microphone and headphones, one USB-C and one similarly shaped button as the USB connector, which is technically RGB switching button. The case supports 29 different light modes, and it also has a nice RGB strip that surrounds the bottom parts of the case where the glass meets the metal part of the case. It's a nice touch. Also, what I did not do due to the lack of time, I did not reverse the case, since it supports reversed layout as well, which you may see on the screen how it looks then. So in case you want your PC on the left side of your desk and you like that inverted layout, you can do it here. Since this case uses a natural path of air, aka chimney style cooling, it doesn't disappoint in this regard. CPU was idling at 35 degrees, GPU at 27, while gaming CPU was almost always around 55 degrees, GPU at 53, and if everything is put to the synthetic load test, CPU reaches 72 degrees, while the GPU reaches 64 degrees. So all in all, performance is great considering the fact that all the air is coming from the bottom part of the case and goes up top. So to sum up my thoughts on this case, I have to say it's a bag of mixed feelings. Primarily, the thing is that this is a flagship case with mid-range price, which is going from 99 up to 140 US dollars, depending on the color and configuration that you want. I'll have this listed all on the screen. So the price is not an issue here, the looks is not an issue here, and I think it looks really dope, and I like the new approach with the recessed or synced in motherboard and fans. Everything is hidden away and tucked in nicely to give you that utmost clean PC build in return. But being a flagship case and having a major flaw with GPU installation, I see this is becoming a reoccurring thing with many brands. Seems that they are forgetting that GPUs are bigger now, they are harder to install and such, and this is easily fixable. And I believe that Montech will fix this issue prior to releasing this case. Maybe I even have the pre-production model still. The second thing is with the AIO mounting. So if you use any sort of daisy chained fans that exit on the side, it will be difficult to install it. It's doable, but requires patience, wiggle room. For example, Li and Li fans will fit here without any hiccup. Generally speaking, building experience was easy, minus the mentioned hiccups. Cable management is easy, and yes, I could have done it better, but I was in a hurry. Also, something that I see a lot of lately is that all cases are beginning to have only one fan size option available. So like this one, 120mm fan size around the case, and this might be a good thing or a very bad one. Here it's 50-50, but only up top, because you can't remove the top wall nor mount bigger AIOs. Li and Li Hydro Shift can't fit in this case, for example. All in all, the direction that Montech is heading is good. They broke away from the traditional things and they started reinventing something. They started to innovate. I especially like the micro ATX cover for the bottom portion of the case, since it hides the ugly cable mess in case you're using micro ATX boards. Aesthetically looking, the case is awesome, build quality is what you would expect from Montech, but the price surprised me the most. They kept it well under 150 mark, and in case you want to get it without any fans and use your own non-pro version of these cases, both HS01 and 02 are even cheaper, so I guess the best value slogan that Montech has is pretty much correct. Hope you liked the video, guys. Sub to the channel, like and share the video, and I'll see you in another one. In case you have any question, type them down below and I'll see you